Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm here with the seventh and the last part of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. To put it in a nutshell, previously in the story, the mariner starts a journey together with the crew of the ship, and then they experience a storm. The storm pushes them towards the South Pole. A bird, an albatross, help them to get out of that condition, and then the bird is shot by the mariner, and there are some outcomes of the mariners act. For example, they are the crew are actually experiencing thirst, hunger. There is no water, and there appears a ship, and then the life and death throw dice over the lives of the crew, and life and death wins. And then the mariner is all alone till he could bless and pray. He could bless the slimy creatures and then the pray and to praise natural beings. So it seems that now he is forgiven and he's saved. In the sixth part, we read that he's here and he's near his own country, but we don't know happens finally in the story. Just as a reminder, number seven is an archetypal number. It's a number of perfection, and Hegel explains in his theory of romanticism when he explains the spirit of the age, he says that the poetry or the stories, the narratives of the time have a circular nature, and the poet or the writer goes through a circle, but there are many things happening to them that change the figure of the writer or the figure of the narrator of the story. Number seven is a combination of number three and number four, the masculine and feminine elements. So it also marks some form of perfection. And here that circular journey has ended. The mariner is on the verge of putting his feet on the firm land of his own country. He's back home. I saw a third. I heard his voice. In the last part of the sixth section of the poem, a boat appeared near the ship because there are some flashlights guiding the boat towards their ship. And now the mariners talking about them. I saw a third. It is explained that there are two people first on the boat, the pilot's boy and the pilot, and also there is a third figure who is the hermit. I saw a third. I heard his voice. I'm sorry, it is the hermit good. He singeth loud his godly hymns that makes in the wood. He'll shrieve my soul. He'll wash away the albatross's blood. The act of shriving is like the act of confession that the mariner goes and narrates his tale, the story of his sinfulness to the hermit, and the hermit, based on what was common in the Middle Ages, um, can act between him and God and purify him from his sins and redeem him. So this is the task, or this is the function of the hermit in the story. This hermit good lives in that wood which slopes down to the sorry to the sea. How loudly his sweet voice, a voice he rears. He loves to talk with the mariners that came from a far country. So the mariner is now in the land. He knows his people, and he's already familiar with the figure of the hermit, and he remembers something about this hermit. He kneels at morn and noon and eve. He has a cushion plum. Uh, Eve means evening, and a cushion plum is a reference to the hermits being fat. He has a cushion plum. Um, he's smooth. It is the mass that wholly hides the rotted old oak stump, and then he refers to where he lives, to the place of his living. The skiff boat is a small boat. The skiff boat neared. I heard them talk. Why, this is strange, I trow. Where are those lights, so many and fair, that signal made but now? Now here we are here in this boat, and suddenly they see that the flashers disappear and there are no lights. The function of those flashers was to guide this boat towards the mariner, and we will see why the mariner is supposed to be saved by these people. And now they are near the flashlights disappear. Strange by my faith, the hermit said, and they answered not our cheer. The planks look warped, and see those sail, how thin they are, and sere means dry. I never saw aught like to them. Aught means anything. I never saw aught like to them, unless perchance it were. I have never seen something as dry as these sails, unless it were the skeletons of leaves that like my forest brook along. In the season of winter, the leaves get so thin that we see only the skeleton of the dead leaves on the rivers or on water. So he says the sails are dry as leaves in the season of winter. The skeletons of leaves that lag my forest brook along. When the ivy tod is heavy with the snow, the ivy tod is a kind of a plant, tree, and the owlet whoops to the wolf below. The owlet is a kind of a small European owl, and the owlet whoops to the wolf below that eats the she wolf's young. It is so cold, and there is no in the season of winter when it is so cold and there is no food, so the uh, male wolf is going to eat the youngs or the children or the cubs of the she wolf or the female wolf. Dear Lord, it has a fiendish look. We are also looking from the perspective of the crew of this boat. Dear Lord, it has a fiendish look, the pilot made reply. I'm afeard. Push on, said the hermit cheerily. So they don't know what's up on the ship, but they understood that there is something abnormal about it. The boat came closer to the ship, but I nor spake nor stirred. The boat came close beneath the ship, and straight a sound was heard. Under the water it rumbled on. It refers to the sound, still louder and more dreadful. It means it reached the ship, it split the bay, the ship went down like lead. The harsh sound comes, the loud sound comes, and the ship goes under the water like lead. Now, all of the signals of that spell are going to disappear from the scenes of the story now, stunned by that loud and dreadful sound which sky and ocean smote, like one that hath been 7 days drowned, my body lay afloat. The 7 days drowned refers to death by water and eating a big portion of water actually, and many watery things. You can float over the surface of water, but swift as dreams myself I found within the pilot's boat. Upon the whirl there is a whirlpool. Upon the whirl where sank the ship, because something very heavy had suddenly went down, so a whirlpool is made over the surface. Upon the whirl where sank the ship, the boat spun round and round, and all was still save that the hill was telling of the sound. We still can hear the echo of the sound from the hill. I moved my lips. So he now wants to talk or say a word. I moved my lips. The pilot shrieked and fell down in a fit. The holy hermit raised his eyes and prayed where he did sit. So they think that he's a fiend, he's Satan, or he has a satanic kind of aspect to it. So one of them cannot even stand the sin, and the other starts to pray. I took the oars. The pilot's boy who now does crazy go. That there should be someone to save them from there. And the mariner is an experienced sailor, so he knows that the whirlpool would push them out of control. So he starts to control the boat to take it out of that whirlpool. And this makes the pilot boy also crazy, who does crazy go, laughed loud and long, and all the while his eyes went to and fro. Ha ha, quoth he, full plain I see, the devil knows how to row. And they think that he's the devil. And now his eyes go crazy. He cannot keep control of the situation anymore, like the pilot himself. And the only thing that the hermit can do is to pray. So the mariner is there acting to save all, and now all on my own country. I stood on the firm land. Finally, I stood on the firm land. The hermit stepped forth from the boat, and scarcely he could stand. Oh, shrieve me, holy man! The hermit crossed his brow. Say quick, quoth he, I bid thee say, what manner of man art thou? Forthwith this frame of mine was wrenched with a woeful agony, which forced me to begin my tale, and then it left me free. Psychologically, Jung calls this situation talking cure. When you talk and you can purify your soul or your mind, you can erase the anguish from your mind, and but by talking about the things which harm you, which annoy you, you can save yourself. And here this is repeatedly happening to the mariner. Every now and then he feels the need to narrate his story to someone. He finds his proper audience and starts to talk about the incidents he had experienced during that journey. Since then, at an uncertain hour, that agony returns, until my ghastly tale is told, thus heart within me bears. I pass like night from land to land. I have a strange power of speech. That moment that his face I see, I know the man that must hear me. To him my tale I teach. So there is uh, something educational or didactic about the story. He teaches something to the audience by narrating his story. And let's review his teachings. Actually, the story has some didactic forms or didactic elements in it. What loud uproar bursts from that door? The wedding guests are there, and in the garden bower the bride and bridesmaids singing are. We are back to the wedding. And hark the little vesper bell. The vesper bell is the evening bell which announces the time for evening prayer, which putteth me to prayer. O wedding guest, this soul has been alone on a wide, wide sea. So lonely it was that God Himself scarce seemed there to be. O sweeter than the marriage feast, it was sweeter far to me to walk together to the kirk with a goodly company. So they could not go to the church for the marriage ceremony, but they could go to the church for prayer. And this is a greater thing to do according to the mariner. So they go to the church to walk together to the kirk and all together pray, while each to his great father bends, old men and babes and loving friends, and youths and maidens gay. Everybody, he means. Farewell, farewell, But this I tell to thee, thou wedding guest, he prays well who loveth well both man and bird and beast. This is the moral message of the story. He prayeth well who loveth well both man and bird and beast. Uh, you not only love your other human fellows, but also the birds and the beast and whatever which is created by God. So you have to respect nature, respect other creatures, and this is a very modern message, if you ask me. It is eco concern, and the romantics were actually concerned with such issues, and here the reasoning is that God loves all of his creatures, and if we are also created by God, we should bear the same characteristic. He prays best who loveth best all things both great and small. For the dear God who loveth us, he made and loveth all. And here the moral of this story uh, is shown totally, is complete. The mariner whose eye is bright, whose beard with age is hoar, grey, is gone, and now the wedding guest turned from the bridegroom's door. He went like one that has been stunned and of sense forlorn. He feels nothing. There are no senses in him now. A sadder and a wiser man who rose the morrow morn. Morrow is the morning, and in the next morning he was a sadder and a wiser man. And here the story ends. I hope you have enjoyed all of the videos, and I hope you have followed the story till the ending point. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.